been causing trouble for 8 goddamn years since he narrowly defeated me in a fucking race for District 6.
It was a horse race, eh?
It was 17 people and 16 of them narrowly defeated me. So that didn't go that well, but it was all right.
You beat Gil.
Hey, let's take it to the bottom line. Let me give you the most important thing that I'm thinking of. We're going to do all of this bullshit that you've been fighting with people over recently and all this, but let's talk about the future. To me, the big thing coming up in the next year is who's the next president of the board. It's an incredibly powerful position. I see it as a race between you and Bevan and Mercurini. How do you see it?
Well, you know, there's a lot of pavement between here and the board presidency race, and so
now he's fucking down home in North Carolina expression. Tell me what hound dogs would say about it. There's a lot of ground in between here and the fucking next year age. Come on. What are you doing behind the scenes?
Well, if you're running the Daytona 500, you don't predict the winner, you know, on mile 200.
Well, they're already running against you. Here's the way I make it. Right there. For the board presidency vote, Bevan's got his own goddamn vote. He's got Carmen Chu, and we don't have a candidate against her. He's got Sean Ellsburn.
Carmen Chu and Sean Ellsburn are seats that are up. So
he's got, God bless Mara Kopp, but she hasn't even entered the race formally. Aliota Pierce.
Well, I believe that Ron Dudum has look, Ron Dudum has been on the ballot twice before. Carmen Chu has never been on.
I've been on the ballot 18 fucking times, Chris. How many times have I won? Actually, it's hard to believe, but you get less popular every time you lose. You know, I lose worse. And then he's got Maxwell. That's 5 goddamn votes.
Honestly, there's a lot of stuff that is going to happen between now and January 8th, or whenever that is, when the board presidency vote is. The most important thing that happens between now and then is the board race.
7 members of the board
and so if you need 6 votes to become board president, and there's 7 seats up for election, guess what? It is completely wide open, and it is premature to speculate or conjecture. And there's a huge election coming up in 11 days as well, which will lead into November's election.
No. First, we're going to talk about the board president next year. Okay.
Well, why don't we talk about there in 2011? We might as well be talking about that.
We'll get to that next. But
if you're going to start that far out, we might as well start with the marquee race in 3.5 years.
Dude, we're only talking 6 months. We're only talking 6 months. You're going to be the next board president because it's going to happen that fucking way. Because Avalos is going to win in 11. What do you think? They're running. There's actually a faction. Peskin is actually trying to fucking beat you for board president next year. He's going to make Duffy. What you got as board president? You got 3 people: Bevan, Daly, and Mercurini.
Well, President Peskin is not going to be on the board of supervisors. Next January 8th. He'll be on next January 7th.
Well, he's planting.
But not next January 8th, so he doesn't get a vote.
He's planting.
11 individuals will get a vote. It takes 6.
He's planting candidates like other people plant herpes sores. You know, I mean, he's got people running in 3. He's got people running in 11. You've got Avalos in 11. Suddenly, Randy Knox shows up in 11. What the fuck's up with that? Why the hell did Knox not even acknowledge that there's IRV and that he should be joining hands with Avalos in this race?
You know, if Randy ends up pulling the trigger and runs, I think
he quit the appeals board the other day. I watched him do it on TV. He said, yeah, maybe he was lying, but he said, because I'm running for board of supervisors, and when I come back and ask you people for money, I don't want to be an appeals commissioner.
Look, there's a filing deadline. There's a cost associated with filing.
Do you know what the filing deadline is? I do.
August 5th, 6th, something like that.
You're not running, you don't know.
That's right.
But you do know there's a race in 11 days.
But I will tell you that when we ran against each other back in 2000, there were initially 33 candidates running. Only 17 of us decided to go and
pay the big bucks
and do the thing. $500 and 20 signatures.
It's still $500. Thank you for holding the line on that.
Still $500 and 20
Although you did triple the price to run for mayor. Thanks God I have a rich uncle or I couldn't have run that next time.
You know, the planets were aligned.
Let's take the shot before we get to today's politics and all that. You brought it up. Mayor in 2011. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Someone's going to be the next mayor of San Francisco.
No, not me. You. I understand that I should be the front runner now.
I'm so used to hearing about H. Brown for mayor that, I endorse.
Chris, I'm just trying to get laid here, and it's not working. I don't know what the hell's going on. I thought if you get out in public with famous people and all that shit, you'd get nookie, but it doesn't happen.
I think you got to run for a higher office.
Or a lower office. I don't know. Maybe dog catchers. You get that cuddly dog thing. Back to modern day politics. Folks, we've got a huge issue coming here. There's 720 acres. I think 670 of them belong to the city and 50 of them belong to the state. We've got propositions coming up, F and G. G is for fucking gross. But what they're trying to do is grab a whole... And the interesting thing about this, nobody's mentioning this, Chris, is this is, first of all, the key thing to remember in this race, Chris Daly and his cohorts, and there are tens and hundreds of thousands of us, have spent less than 10,000 in this race.
We're pushing 10,000 though, 9,000 something.
Pushing 10.
We filed, yes.
2,000,003 the opposition has spent.
3,000,002 actually.
But it's just a sense.
3,000,002 as of yesterday.
But they're not asking the city to approve any plans. They're asking the electorate to say that they favor the idea. Why in the world would they do that?
Well, it's really all that they could do at this time. Your viewers are probably pretty on top
very
of
sophisticated.
Very sophisticated, the finer points of California environmental law and land use politics in San Francisco. A project like what Lennar has been selling to folks out in the Baby Hunters Point has to go through a relatively complicated approval process. It has to clear CEQA, which is called the California Environmental Quality Act, which they have not yet done. Then it needs approval at the PAC level of the redevelopment agency. Their PAC down there is STAC. Then it will need approval at the commission level of the redevelopment agency, and then ultimately approval at the Board of Supervisors.
So what you're saying is you don't know why they got this on the ballot.
Quite possibly approval of planning as well. The reason why they have Prop G on the ballot is because in 1997, if you remember, Willie Brown went out there and got an election won.
Secret polls and secret garages, secret places, secret times.
So propositions D and F are law, they're on the books. They need to repeal
those. Those were binding.
They need to repeal those because they can't move forward because that's you can't trump the voters with a vote at the Board of Supervisors.
My young friend is very smart. Now he doesn't have enough time to realize why Lennar is on the ballot.
Now
they explain to you.
Now they also have to get approval to sell parkland. Because of
why are they on the ballot now?
A charter amendment that we passed, Props A and C, I think, a ways back, said that if we're going to use any parkland for any purpose other than parks, that you need a positive vote of the voters. So Prop G would accomplish that.
Why
as well.
would you put?
So those are the 3 reasons that Prop G exists, and those are the only 3 reasons: to repeal Prop G, to repeal Prop F. And to authorize the sale of parks.
He's right on that.
Well, that's according to the deputy city attorney that wrote it.
Here's reality. You heard it here first. You know what an option is, right? When you sell stuff, if you're a business person, you have actual real property, you have cash, and you have options. Options are a legal potential that you have to do. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
One of those was yours. You paid. We're looking at 2 pictures of the Daly baby screaming from the last election. My room is paid.
The monster, my campaign actually paid for it.
I know they did. I jumped all over fucking what's his name's ass for that.
It was great.
Yeah, well, you won. You're lucky. But here's what an option is this: is if you're a business.
In the worst of times,
they lost 80% of their stock value this year. They're for sale. They're for sale, and they're for sale, and if you're for sale and you got a multi-billion-dollar business, you stack your portfolio with everything you can. You know what the most valuable thing that Lennar has is options in San Francisco to work. This is 720 acres free in San Francisco. This is an option that's going to play well in the United Arab Emirates. Did you know that they are bidding this thing out in the United Arab Emirates?
Well, no, but I am happy that I brought a cocktail because I prefer to have a drink when I'm being lectured.
Well, dude, far be it for me to lecture anybody who knows more than I do, and so I feel comfortable lecturing you. Go on.
Well, let me say this. Lennar is...
He knows more than I do, folks. I'm just fucking with you.
Lennar has...
Look at that camera just every now and then. This is the permanent record.
Yes. Lennar has spent $3.2 million as of yesterday.
$3 million now?
Yeah, well, they keep spending money, H. You know, so you got to keep up with the times.
That's because they're losing.
So as of yesterday, they've spent $3.2 million. Bulk of that money going to Gavin Newsom's political operatives, Eric J.
SFOP.
First and foremost. Alex Turk, who was in the news, I think, last year. Actually a decent guy, but pretty mercenary when it comes to these sorts of things.
Let's get an off to the side here, because you know everything about politics, and so do I. What was Hillary Clinton's biggest expense last month? $2.7 million.
$2.7 million? I don't know. Debt?
Chris Penn. He got fired the month before. $2.7 million.
Not Chris Penn, the actor.
No.
Mark Penn.
Mark Penn. Well, fuck that. So I'm wrong again. So you're going to jump on my ass a pitiful thing like facts?
Oh, I don't want to be anywhere near your ass. Well, thanks.
We've covered so far. We've covered the next year's race for president of the board. This is absolutely essential. We didn't
cover, but we can talk.
Well, we need.
How long is this show? Is it as long as
an hour? We got an hour. As long as we want. As long as we want. Believe me, for you, as long as we want.
Well, let's talk about board president for a second.
These are the only three things I see are up for 3, 9, and 11. The only 3 votes I see up for grabs.
Look, when I say the board presidency is going to be determined that first Tuesday in November, that's the truth.
Amen.
However, there are some likely scenarios. Look, if
Marr's going to win.
If progressives sweep, that means if Eric Marr wins in 1, somebody on 3 that's David Chew to the left of David Chew in 3.
David Chew will not vote for you.
I'm not saying.
Why didn't he put your picture on his mailer? If he's your big buddy.
Well, I never said he was going to vote for me.
You endorsed him.
Eric Casada wins in 9, who's my candidate, in 9, and then John Avalos wins in 11, then all of a sudden,
how about Marr?
I said if Marr, Casada, and Avalos win, then those are 4 supervisors who come from my strain of politics. All right, community-based, grassroots, progressive politics in San Francisco. And with 4 votes, you're in the game. Now, H, I am not so presumptive. Neither am I a novice enough politically to say that I am interested in the board presidency. However, what I am interested in...
You're not interested in the board presidency?
I didn't say I wasn't interested in the board presidency. I said that I wasn't going to say that I was interested in the board presidency.
He didn't say that.
So
you got that?
What I'm saying is
he didn't say he's not interested. You want a triple negative?
I am interested.
I did not say that I'm never not anymore.
Now I'm going to tell you what I'm interested in, and we might be able to have to refresh in that cocktail after this.
You might.
Your lucidity is starting to wane. I will say this. I am interested in the same thing I've been interested in for 8 years in doing this. I'm interested in progressive political power. That means having a real, true progressive in the presidency. I reminisce frequently about the days that Matt Gonzalez was board president, especially before he became disillusioned at City Hall after the mayor's race. I long for those days. I think that we do a better job at running.
What's Matt doing now?
I don't know. I think that we do a better job at running local government. I think that we have better positions for people who are vulnerable in the city on the issues. And I think that if we have the board presidency seat, that's powerful, and then that can be parlayed into another strong mayor's race in 2011. Now, I don't know that I would be the best board president.
Yes, you would.
I think that
drop it, forget it.
I think that someone like Eric Marr for example.
I'm sure they always just walk in off the street and become the board president.
You know, he's a past president of the San Francisco School Board.
Took him 8 years to get there.
Presidents of school boards,
oftentimes 8 years to get there.
Presidents of school boards oftentimes find themselves
Then why aren't you backing
California
Mark
State,
Sanchez? He's the president.
in the California State Assembly. The reason why I'm not backing Mark Sanchez is because I'm backing the best candidate in the race for District 9 Supervisor. District 9 Supervisor.
What makes Casada better?
Because he has a 20-year record of doing the work in the district on the issues that matter to the district.
Mark Solomon wanted to know if you thought Eric Casada could win.
I think Eric Casada can win. You know, Eric Casada is the Chris Daly of District 9.
What color is the sky where you're making this fucking...
You know, the better question for Mark Solomon is, could Chris Daly win in District 6? Not the best financed candidate in 2000.
I believe he backed you.
I think that we were all backing him. I'm not sure.
I backed him.
Oh, that's right. You vote for Solomon. Yeah,
well, that was before we had IRV, buddy. And when you ran into the thing, by the end of the campaign, we had some great candidates there. We had Joan Roughgarden. We had some tremendous Wilson. We had some tremendous Denise DeAnne. We had some great candidates.
There's a former supervisor in that race.
And Mark Solomon. There was a lot of brains on the stage. I never saw people do that. They call it speed dating now, but one.
So is Mark Solomon actually watching this shit?
Yes. Sue is on there. Sue won.
He won't answer your email.
I'm sorry.
Can we get these guys some social lives?
Hey, all you dipshits out there that didn't hear me, please make it 18 point because we can't read otherwise.
I've been typing that.
Tell us what they're asking out there.
Well, look, I mean, Eric Casada has been in the district for a long time.
He rates it.
Doing the issues.
Can't win.
Affordable housing.
Can't win.
That's this, if he runs a grassroots campaign, then it's door to door, that's on the phones, where he's getting that message out. He'll be running extensive.
He's a commie who threw a brick through a fucking department head's window.
He'll be running.
Didn't he throw a brick through a department head's window a couple years ago?
I don't think so.
That doesn't do good for you.
Are you?
That doesn't do good for you.
Are you working for the Chamber of Commerce now? Or?
I'm working for you. The way that you're going to have to win is Sanchez is going to win there. Unless a wild card will be somebody like Christy Sanchez got in, whom you've never backed, but you'll certainly vote for.
Sanchez is a vote for Ross McCready, and he should be.
Well,
and God bless the two of them. I love Mark Sanchez in the school board. Next time I see him, I'll say to him what I say to him every time I see him. Get out of the District 9 race, get back in the Board of Education race so you can retain your seat as President of the Board of Supervisors and run for State Assembly.
President of the Board of Education.
I mean, President of the Board of Education. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah.
You owed me.
It gets old.
So does the Board of Supervisors.
Casada doesn't have a prayer. My question is, why
I'll tell you what.
Why don't any of you guys do it? Why don't you back them both?
Why don't you back them both? Back in 2000, I said I didn't have a prayer. I was the grassroots candidate. I was strong on the issue of affordable housing. People were like, yeah.
You wouldn't have had to gone to a runoff if we'd had IRB in 2000 because I would have voted for Solomon first, my first choice, then you second, and probably Joan Roughgarden third. Now we've got IRB, but you guys are ignoring. You guys are ignoring IRB.
If you're not going to vote for yourself, you shouldn't run.
Why wouldn't you?
That's my position.
Well, I run for different reasons than you do.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't even believe in yourself, you have to give yourself a vote, one of 3 votes.
Believe me,
you probably shouldn't be in the race.
Folks out there, do I lack self-confidence? Have you ever noticed me to lack any self-confidence? Why don't you use the IRB system? Why don't you endorse 2 people?
Self-confidence.
Why don't you endorse 2 people? You don't lack one either.
I don't think that's what people are worried about when it comes to UAH. I'm not worried about self-confidence.
But why don't you endorse 2 people? You got a chance to endorse 3. You could say my first choice is Eric Casada, my second choice is Mark Sanchez, and here we are 5-6 months out from the race, and you've got two fucking chickens in the race in 9. I just won.
I might do that, and as a matter of fact,
Thank you.
I have told both Eric and Mark, both are friends of mine, both I've politically supported over the years, both have politically supported me, that I like them both. I think Mark Sanchez would make a great state assembly member. And I think that when it comes to state government, the issues of education, issues that he's strong on.
You want Sanchez to take on Amiano?
I didn't say take on Amiano, but Amiano's not going to be there forever.
So wait 8 years?
He'll be there 2, 4, 6 years. One of the 3.
my humble opinion, and it is humble.
Mark Sanchez runs for school board one more time, then an assembly seat is available. You run as a president, long-term president of the school board for the state assembly. I think there's an argument to be made for that because at state government, education issues are critical.
Why don't you run for school board then? No. The thing is, Sanchez has earned his fucking marbles here, and it's time for him to run for a higher office. I agree 100%. I think Sanchez, and I'm not saying he's better than Quesada. I don't know Quesada that well, but I know his politics, and I agree with his politics. I'm a fucking anarchist myself. So Quesada is too. Quesada's like really out there on the left. I don't know if he threw that.
Probably.
But that's going to come up in the race.
He's probably a little bit right in me.
Yeah. Well,
District 9 is way left of District 6. So, I mean, just to say that he can't win, I mean, ultimately it's a matter of who talks to the most number of voters, who turns, who identifies their voters, and who turns them out and gets them to the polls. Eric Quesada is an organizer. He's a community organizer. Those skills are important for grassroots politics because ultimately it's about identifying voters and turning them out to the polls.
Bullshit. It's about name recognition, period.
Well, what I had when I started this thing back in 2000, my name recognition was right around 0. Okay. Same place your name recognition still is.
Well, who took out your major opponent? Who took out your major opponent? Who was your major opponent? Do you remember? Kara Ruth Silver was your major opponent. You thought that dipshit, that Dittenhofer, or whatever the fuck that guy's name was, he wasn't shit. Kara Ruth Silver was your danger. And I stood up on stage in every goddamn debate, and we had 20 of them. And I said, this woman over here is a real estate agent. That's the only reason she's running. Well, and her and Joe Blue were, and that's why they backed off. That's why you won. You would have never been anything. I made you what you are today. Okay, I'm kidding.
Where's the ring? Where's the ring? I'm ready to kiss it.
I'm kidding. No. I want you to be board president. And you can be board president. And I won't have anything to do with it except what I take myself, I have 3 jobs. First of all, I've got to do everything I can to get John Avalos to get elected in 11.
Jobs.
Well, John, this is not a job to you because you do the same thing and get, what do you get, $800,000 a year for this shit?
Yeah, I think it was $94,000.
Yeah, but 750 under the table, right?
I appreciate every penny of it.
I noticed that your boy Ken Garcia went after you again. Do you ever even read that shit? No. There it is right there. Prop F is unfeasible.
Yeah.
Grab that.
Well, yeah, it's unfeasible for Lennar because they can't get 20% profit out of it.
Do you even read these guys?
No. Well, I'm reading them now.
Sure you do.
I haven't seen this actually.
Sure you do.
When did this come out?
That's my job, folks. You want to know what my job is? I get up before everybody in the morning. You think that's because I have high energy? Bullshit. It's because I drink heavily and I pass out before everybody at night.
Well,
so I'm up at 5:30 and I read all this shit. And by the time you hit 8 o'clock in the morning when he goes to work and the board opens up, I've read everything on the internet. I've read all the papers and I've got everything highlighted and I know what the fuck's going down and all this. But I mean, I read like Garcia. You got several columnists and all that run. But Garcia just runs lies and bullshit like that. But he also gets paid. He took a hack off of Warren Hinkle. Do you know how much Hinkle made when he worked for the Examiner? Nothing. He got paid for columns by people like the PO that would say, shoot us a column and give him so much money, X so much money and all that. But this guy is in on the.
Well, do you know him? Do you know Ken Garcia personally? Yeah. I know him too. Yeah. So I don't. I mean, he's a prick.
His daughter got busted on the bus for jumping on the back door without a pass. He went to Peskin and they changed the whole fucking law. So if she gets busted again next time, because she's 16, 17 years old, then she doesn't have to go to court anymore. Did you know that? You voted for it.
For his daughter?
Well, Peskin brought up a measure before the board that what's the sense of being so hard on people jumping on the back door of the bus? That's a meaningless thing.
I think that beauty should be free.
I do too. It's only 20% of its income comes.
And if you watch the budget committee this week, you know that I told them to go back.
You're doing good. You're getting people actually
go back to the MTA commission and bring the muni budget doesn't have a fare hike in it, and I'll vote for it. I don't care about I get parking tickets just like everyone else. I don't care about the parking tickets. Keep the fares low, or I ain't voting for it.
Listen, every time there's a 10-to-1 vote out there, I'm kissing your feet. because you're the only one that's got the balls to do that. Gonzalez used to talk about, you're going to get a lot of 10-to-1 votes from me. And you know what? We didn't get a lot of 10-to-1 votes from him. We got, even on the Gonzalez votes, we got you. We got you voting because he was president of the board. He'd make these little compromises.
We got Sandoval too. We got Sandoval.
Yeah, right. You got Sandoval.
H, there's been a couple questions about what Chris thinks about Prop E.
Prop E. I'm in favor of Prop E.
Fuck's Prop
E is the PUC.
Whoa!
It's not exactly sharing the appointments
I didn't
to the
do
PUC.
that.
Well, I would have preferred that, but I mean, we've gotten our asses handed to us ever since.
Did you write E?
No, E was written by someone other than me.
McGoldrick. It's McGoldrick.
Maxwell. I think it was Maxwell's name on it. Maybe Duffy. No, Maxwell. But, you know, Susan Leal. It was one of the Susan Leal people.
Well,
Prop E is a baby step in the right direction, and even though it's a baby step, it's not the board saying we're going to take over the PUC and Daly's just going to have 7 of his commissioners on there. The PG is still going to show.
Well, what Prop E is, for all you folks, for Frank Gallagher out in Maine and all that, don't remember or don't know all this shit.
What's Frank on here?
Yeah.
Hey Frank, how you doing?
He's raising babies in the woods in Maine.
He's in Maine in the middle of nowhere. You've got an excuse. Unlike the rest of these San Franciscans who are on the internet watching this shit, you have an excuse, Frank Gallagher. I appreciate your watching. The rest of you go out. It's a lovely city. It's a lovely night. It's beautiful out there. Get out of your houses and go experience some culture in San Francisco.
Anyway, folks, we have something called the Public Utilities Commission here in San Francisco. Most people have them. They make sure your service works, they keep your water rolling, and they keep the power going to what extent they're able to. The people that run that are named wholly by the mayor, which is a bastard, because you always end up with downtown types running it. You have something like Herb Crane's widow's been on there for 10 or 15 years.
Come on, program. You give some excuse.
The woman is.
I would give it myself.
I'm talking here.
I'm trying not to disrupt.
Just kidding, folks. Just kidding. But anyway, Prop E does not. Gonzalez and Tony Hall and Daly over the time that the early years of the class of 2000 to 2004, they passed a whole bunch of power sharing things with the voters that agreed that the mayor was too powerful. It was Willie Brown at the time. They said, and on into Newsom. They said, but it was under Willie Brown that shit passed. But they said, we need to share the power with the board. So the president of the board got to appoint people. This time, so that happened with ethics. That ethics is a split thing. So is, what do you call it? Elections Commission.
The police commission, the planning commission,
the planning commission, and the board of appeals.
And then we tried to do the MPA. Remember that? And then they put Chris Daly on the literature.
But they backed it. You've been going fucking reform light though. No. These things that are getting on the ballot are reform light compared to what you did with appeals and planning and the police commission.
Yeah, well,
we've got actual votes. You're just saying to actually, you guys are asking, for instance, for PUC, how about having qualified commissioners? Now that's a great idea, but the idea, if you came out and said,
it's also
let's share
six
power.
votes to reject. That's the big change.
6 to 5.
It's currently 8 votes to reject. E would make it 6 votes to reject. That's where the board gets a little bit of juice.
For those of you confused, it's because they got in the pipeline and they're spending the San Francisco PUC something like $3, $4, $5 billion. Who knows once it gets jacked up?
Who knows, really, honestly.
Because we really don't control them. The District 9, we did 11, we did 9, 3.
We didn't do 11 justice, but
the mayor's race are out there is Asa Safai, something.
Asha Safai.
Asha Safai.
Yeah, he's got the hair slicked back. He's got the $1,000 suits. He's Gavin Light out there. Yeah.
He's got millions of dollars in Iranian.
Well, I hope he doesn't have
Persian money.
He'll have hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's
he's going to run exactly on that kind of a basis.
Yeah.
So you're, but he can't win. Avalos is an actual family.
I like the guy. I like the guy, Ash. I like him, but he's the kind of guy where if you sit down and meet with him, you got to go and take a shower after.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I would have never said anything like that. How controversial. This is not personal politics, Chris. I try to treat everybody with motherfucking respect.
All right. So maybe not take a shower. Maybe just burn some sage.
The guy The fact of the matter is that Asha gave the mayor $5,000 5 years ago, and he's been in his inner circle since, and he's managed to get himself a job for over $100 grand. But he's
not running as the mayor's guy. He's running as the neighborhood guy.
Yeah, exactly.
But he just moved to the neighborhood to be the neighborhood guy.
Before that, he moved to 10.
And he's got all these mayoral staffers working on his campaign.
Before that, he was the neighborhood guy in 10 when they were trying to dump Sophie for the 50th time, and Sophie doesn't actually realize that they're trying to dump her. She's gone over on the votes and all. But you got Sophie, you've got...
in defense of Sophie Maxwell, who obviously...
too, don't you?
We've had some differences of opinion on some big issues. In defense of Sophie Maxwell,
I like Sophie.
But let's be clear. Sophie
love the sin or hate the sin.
Sophie has, she has navigated her way to 3 terms on the Board of Supervisors. The last 2 times she's avoided
Much like
challenge.
yourself.
Yeah, but
actually you were challenged,
but with a lot less stress. Because look. Part of what they've done to me over the last 7 years
to make you stronger.
In terms of
spending, yeah, they have.
They've spent millions of dollars
giving you name recognition,
driving my negatives up.
You're in the paper every day.
That's right, but at a certain point,
do you know who has higher negatives than you by far when they started their race? George Bush. But try it on.
I believe he's the only politician in America with higher negatives than me in San Francisco.
Wrong.
And Arnold probably doesn't have as high negatives as I do in San Francisco.
Actually, Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton has higher negatives than anybody who ever ran for president. 56% of the people say they won't vote for her no matter what the fuck happens.
Yeah, well,
and yet she's right neck and neck trying to force Obama out and run for president. You can be mayor. I always have this argument with him. He says, oh, my negatives, my negatives. Your negatives means name recognition.
You've missed the news of the last week and a half or so that Hillary's done, and it's only a matter of when she acknowledges the fact. And that's part of the problem with her. I don't like to...
Well, you don't know the new math, do you?
I don't like to know... There's a new math every hour.
Hillary's got new math every hour.
Even if you're glued on the internet all day, you still can't keep up with the new math. It's so new. Look, I've got high negatives. They've driven my negatives up for a couple of reasons. One, it's good they've got a boogeyman in their back pocket, so they can wheel me out to try and kill initiatives or pass initiatives.
You're poorly advised.
Look, then this is also what they can do with my negatives. They have money spent, money invested against me in case I do run for an office like mayor. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't. I was very close to running last year. And if my daughter wasn't due to be born 3 days before Election Day, which she was.
Hide behind the baby. That's a good idea.
Hide behind the baby.
I like it.
How many kids you got, H?
I like it. 3.
How many?
Two.
How many? Which one is it?
You guys weren't supposed to know about that other one.
What's her name, H? Is this a new baby? You're not counting?
Chris, your mom never told you. What do you think you're doing on my show tonight? Son!
Cowbell.
That time I spent in North Carolina? Well, there you go.
I'd go for it, but my mom's got taste. You know what I'm saying?
Here's reality, folks. Here's reality. All that matters in politics is name recognition. All of you out there, have you ever been in love with somebody and hated them at the same time?
Yeah.
Have you ever done? You know what the difference in love and hate is? It's the difference in one side of a quarter, heads or tails of a quarter. It's so thin.
Well,
once you've got name recognition, you can flip the people to love you. As long as they feel passionately about you. Once they know you, they love you. I don't know why.
H, why don't you save that speech for Bob Dornan? Right?
Bob Dornan is a fucking sleazebag who's long gone. I mean, fuck. You're not a sleazebag, dude. I mean, that's everything they say about you negative is a lie. Other than you're too fucking tall, but you can't help that. You know? But honest to God, all that matters is name recognition. They keep your name out there for free. This $3 million they spent, $3 million of it, your name is on everything.
H, once you have...
I'm pushing him for mayor.
Once you have saturation, in other words, once your name ID is at 90% or above, in other words, I mean, there's some folks that just ain't going to know who, Jesus is. But once you have name ID over 90% and have saturation, then it's not a matter of name ID and having your name in the paper anymore. It really is a matter of positives and negatives, and really the feeling that exists amongst likely voters about you and your record and what you stand for. I think one of the things that I've been able to do over 7.5 years, even with some pretty nasty political campaigns and some pretty nasty attacks and lies, is that I do think that a majority of San Franciscans do believe that I'm interested in helping the underdog. I do think that a majority of San Franciscans do know that I'm interested in having more affordable housing in San Francisco. And ultimately, I think that the majority of San Franciscans understand that I'm fighting, for poor folks. And that I do a pretty good job of representing the tenderloin. Now, on pretty much every other question, every other issue, I've lost in the war of public opinion, but they have got 2 newspapers coming out every day coming after me. They have spent literally millions upon millions of dollars. If you check your mailbox today, I'm sure there's a mailer from Lennar in it that talks about how I don't want to have housing in the Bayview because I'm bad or whatever. So I mean, it's almost been every election cycle that they've done this, and they've been able to build my negatives up to close to 50%. And that is a place that
if you get more unpopular, you can run for president.
It's hard to recover from if you don't have big money.
That is really, you're somebody telling you that you really believe that all this publicity is bad.
You are comparing me, when you compare me to George Bush
I didn't compare you to Hillary Clinton.
Or Hillary Clinton in terms of my negatives.
Nixon could never get elected. That's why Nixon was never elected, because his negatives were so high.
You are comparing me.
Wait, he won twice and everybody hated him.
You are comparing me to politicians.
Because he was competent and you are competent.
You are comparing me to politicians who have access to large sums of political monies. Now, I know that we've got public financing, and that's great, and that I probably, if I ran for mayor, would be able to max out on public financing, and that's a significant, not insignificant amount of money, and you need money to be able to take a vacation afterwards. With that said, these guys, the Newsom camp, they're spending consistently $6, $7, $8 million per mayoral political cycle if they got a challenge. Obviously last time the mayor didn't need to do that because Clinton wasn't a massive political challenge. But if I were in the race, they would have spent $6, $7, $8 million, whatever it would take to win. And when you come into that kind of race with negatives approaching 50, when you know that you can't spend more than $900,000 or $1 million, and you know that your opponent is going to spend $5, $6, $7 million, in addition to all of the free media they get, the San Francisco Chronicle and Examiner, it's almost insurmountable. But that's fun, because change, the end-all, be-all of social change is not electoral politics. Electoral politics is an extension of many other things that are happening on the streets of our city and in society that are happening. Change happens, from the bottom up. And right now is, it's
You're finished with all that vague shit. Let me give you something practical. You know what he did for me? You know what this fucking guy did for me?
You? Him?
The fact that I am able to sit in this SRO room and have these people sitting here is because of Chris Daly. The first thing he did when he came on board was he said, "Guess what? You don't have to fucking bribe the desk clerk to come and see somebody living in an SRO." Daly did that. Daly did that. No one else. You don't have to give your fucking ID to somebody to come see your friend in an SRO. The SRO clerks are not the bullies that they used to be. Some of them are assholes, to be sure, but Daly did that. Daly made my life and that of 30,000 fucking people that live in these things a lot better, and I thank you for it.
You're welcome. If I ran for mayor, I'd probably win the
You get 30,000 fucking votes in the Tenderloin Law.
I'd probably win the Tenderloin.
Nixon and Bush never won the Tenderloin, but they became president. You look at the local voter pool and what you've got. You've got the best name recognition outside of Newsom in the goddamn city.
My name recognition rivals it. I mean, at a certain point, it's over 90. It's the same.
Okay. Let's get back. Yeah, of course.
One of them is from
This is Hope Johnson, our moderator.
One of them is from Art Borzoni.
She doesn't moderate very well.
I tried to get her.
At a certain point, can you reel this guy in, Hope?
We didn't say that for read, we said
All
moderate.
right, Art wants to know what your next political step is.
Well, it's a good question, Art Borzoni. In 11 days, it'll be June 3rd. I'm asking San Francisco voters to vote yes on Proposition F. In case folks didn't know this, I'm also on the ballot on June 3rd in a down ticket race. I'm running for Democratic County Central Committee, so anybody that is so inclined is a registered Democrat can vote for me for Democratic
I've
County
been
Central
having
Committee.
these DCCC candidates on. They're telling me that that's a precursor for the run for the board president. Is that true?
You know, what it is we're trying to take over the Democratic Party, Gage. I'm an Obama guy. I've been an Obama guy since before Iowa.
It's like stealing fertilizer.
Yeah, I got 3 or 4 of my top campaign organizers from 2006 in the Obama campaign. Did you hear that Nicole Dursey right now is running Virginia? She's the state director for Obama in Virginia, which is a swing state.
She's not back?
She's in Virginia. She's going to come back mid-June. We're going to go out. And
I had a dream that I ran into her and hugged her and she went off doing something.
Why don't you mention
Reality and dreams are losing it for me and all.
They want to mention Macon, yes.
And keep answering Brazzoni and ignore me interrupting you.
So, Art
So
Brazzoni,
you're running for DCCC. Who's on your slate?
You know, I'm going to have to name all 12 of them?
Yeah,
or all 20?
Just
all
name a
22?
couple. Name a couple. Who needs your endorsement?
Well, your friend Aaron Peskin and I decided that we wanted progressives in terms of the capital P progressives to take over the Democratic Party with the Obama campaign. Obviously, this nation in terms of democratic politics is energized like it hasn't been since probably '64. And so they're exciting times in a place like San Francisco, which is supposed to be the progressive bastion and a Democratic base. Progressives don't even control the Democratic Party. For example, the Democratic Party voted against Proposition F, which I'll talk about in a second. I think the vote was 18-13 or something like that. But it's because of these superdelegates, Dianne Feinstein's, Nancy Pelosi's, Mark Leno's, who have votes at the Democratic Central Committee because of their standing as elected Democrats in the state or federal government. We don't have a majority of the seats on the Central Committee. We need to win 15 of the 24 elected seats to take control of the party, and I think that we'll do that. My guy Eric Casada and also Campos is on the slate, and your opponent David Chu is on the slate. But there's some good grassroots progressives. Joe Julian.
Campos is running District 92, folks. Don't vote for him. He
Don't
worked for Wells Fargo. He gave
Don't vote for him.
He gave Marlene Ackerman a $500,000 fucking exit package. He will double cross Chris if you vote for him.
Don't vote for him for District 9 Supervisor, but vote for him 12th. For Democratic County Central Committee. But also vote for Deborah Walker, vote for Eric Casada, vote for Robert Holland, vote for Raphael Mandelman, vote for Michael Goldstein.
What a fucking ship of fools.
Goldstein's on.
Let's get real about this, though. Let's get real about this. The Democratic vote.
What is Goldstein going to say about being called a ship of fools by H. Brown?
Listen, be real about this. Be real about this. You want to be the captain of the ship of fools. The Democratic voters don't listen to the Democratic Committee. The Democratic voters, a majority of them voted for Gonzalez against Newsom.
Right.
You can't even control the Democratic voters. What the fuck good is it to run a ship of fools like that?
You said I can't control Democratic voters, but I told
the DCCC can't.
But I told Democratic voters to vote for Matt Gonzalez, and they did. So what do you mean I can't control?
The DCCC went the other way.
They went the wrong way. Well, that's why we're going to take it over to get them to go to the right way, because it helps.
Okay.
They do move a certain percentage.
You win the control of the DCCC. What do you get from that? Vis-a-vis November.
Vis-a-vis November, we're going to have the power to endorse the progressives.
How much money they got? Can you spend their money?
Potentially they currently have no money. However, it's a vessel. So if Obama is the Democratic nominee, which looks like is going to happen, there's a possibility.
That's the black guy?
Half black, yeah.
Half black?
Yes.
Like my grandkids.
Like Julian Davis, like Bill Barnes, like a lot of good San Franciscans.
I like
Let's
that.
ask a
Like my
question that gets
grandkids.
into
I like
Prop
that.
F.
All right. So for
Okay.
Prop F, Prop F is the battleground for June 3rd. It is going to be, Migdon Leno has been getting a lot of the attention for a year, but what it's coming down to is the David and Goliath battle of Prop F with affordable housing activists and poor folks and just unaffiliated folks down in the Baby Hunters Point who are yearning for real affordable housing against the Lennar Corporation that H. Brown has talked a bit about. It's the largest housing developer
On the edge of bankruptcy.
in the United States of America. Obviously, the housing, the economy is not good, so Lennar is having difficult financial times. even though they've been having difficult financial times, they've already spent over $3.2 million, making it the largest expenditure by any single entity in San Francisco political history. That is all dirty money, and San Franciscans...
Dirty money!
San Franciscans need to rise up and embrace Proposition F and tell Lennar...
H. Brown on the H. Brown Hour, my guest is Chris Daly. He's in his eighth year on the Board of Supervisors.
Why did Labor stab me in the back?
He's only 17 years
Go to
old. He's got
fogcityjournal.com and
8 years on, and this is probably not even the most important thing he's pushed this year. This man, 8 years on the Board of Supervisors since he came in at 28. He's in his 8th year, pardon me.
Yeah.
At 28 years of age he came on, and this impassioned speech, yeah, he knows his shit. This guy's not staff driven. This guy's not lawyer driven. This guy actually knows the issue. This is, he's around this. Everybody else wishes they had one issue like this to champion around the world.
Yeah.
Why did Labor stab you?
This is just this year.
Talk about
Labor sold out. You can get...
I was right on Paulson, right?
Absolutely. Labor sold out. You can get the exact answer to your question on fogcityjournal.com. Not that you all haven't read it already.
He doesn't talk to me anymore. What's up with that?
It's on there, I read
I
it.
had a conversation with Luke about doing a little HD talks. He'll be back, but he just needs a break. He just needs a break. He'll be back.
You mean because I threw him out, he needs a break?
I think this.
He's banned for 1 hour a day. Luke, I want you here 23 hours a day. I just don't want you here during filming because there ain't room in the fucking room. That's all. I love you, Luke. Come back, Shane. Come back.
I'm going to talk about the labor deal, but the world wants to know about Luke Thomas and H. Brown falling out. Let me say this.
Talked about the labor deal.
Let me say this about your fallout with Luke. Look,
this can lead to no good.
This is all.
I'm going to give him his fucking ring back.
This is the truth.
I'm going to give him his fucking ring back.
H, this is the truth. You now are sort of the Emperor Norton of our time here in San Francisco.
Emperor Norton was an insane man who ran around and made his own money. Would you take money that I handed you that I made on my... I don't have a copy machine. But yeah, that's true. That's true.
H, I brought you 1.75 liter bottle of whiskey. I probably would take your money. And I probably...
He wouldn't take any fucking thing. He's full of shit. This guy works for nothing. This guy works for nothing. $10,000 against $3 million fucking dollars. He's against every goddamn major newspaper in town, and he wins. He fucking wins. I can't believe it. And he says, I got too many negatives. Well, why do you keep winning fucking issues and races before the whole city if you're a negative? Your issues win. Your issues win.
They want you to smoke pot.
I was hanging out with DMC. He's got pot over there. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Let me say this, H. This is your issue. You are a victim of your own success.
I'm successful?
Yeah, and
why don't I get laid then?
Well, that's not in the cards for you. I'm sorry.
No hope for me.
But let me say this to you. Every once in a while, I think it would be fine if you just chill a little bit. You know, you don't have to be pushing the envelope 24 hours a day.
Oh, that's your job?
You can push the envelope 6-8 hours a day, and you can have other people, sharing the spotlight now and again. And you didn't ask. That's unsolicited personal advice, so take it for what it is. But you're golden. You don't need to try hard.
Okay, I have a question.
You're golden because of who you are. And I think when you try hard, you get a little bit out there, and it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. I think you can be the Emperor Norton of our time, and it's just who you are. You don't even have to try and do it.
You know what the most valuable thing for any warrior to be is? Totally, completely underrated. He underrates me. They all underrate me. This is hey. My candidates win. My issues
who underrates
win.
you?
My issues win. You just did. I'm in for Norton. You think I'm dumb? You really think I'm crazy? Do you really? You're kidding, right? Let's get back to some questions.
Do you want to talk about Prop F?
Yeah,
I want to ask you a question.
Absolutely.
I collected signatures
for
Prop F.
Thank you.
And what
11,000 signatures in 11 rainy days.
Yeah, it was fun.
With no money, it was an historic
One of
effort.
the things that I found that people wanted to talk about was that they are just regular, level income people, and they can't afford it. And some of the questions that are coming up here are saying, what about me? I just have a regular income. Is there any way to adjust it up instead of just being low?
Well, Prop F speaks to 50% of that.
Okay.
So 50% of the housing, as my wife's grandfather likes to say, fair is fair, 50-50. So 50% of the housing is at market rate. So if you can afford a $500,000 condo, $600,000 condo, $800,000 condo, God bless you. Half the housing under Prop F.
But that
out in the shipyard.
Eliminates that middle piece, because it's way high or way low.
And then for Prop F is designed based on economic realities of the baby boomers. So of the affordable housing, a third of it is going to be offered to very low-income folks at 30% or below of the San Francisco median income. Then a third of it,
about 30,000.
right. Then a third of it is offered at 60%.
A third of the 50.
Correct. So a sixth of the total, but a third of the affordable is offered at 60% of the median income, and then a third is offered at 80%. So for a family earning about $65,000 a year, they would have Prop F delivers affordable housing for them. Now, for folks who are above $60,000 a year, but under about $120,000 or $130,000, which we need to make in order to afford the marketing and stuff that they're going to sell. We have a program in San Francisco called the Inclusionary Affordable Housing Program. And the housing that's largely being delivered by that program, which is a very high percentage of all of the total affordable housing that we're creating as a city, is at 100% of the median income, up to 120% of the median income.
80,000 to 100.
So that's for folks around $80,000 a year. So this Prop F, coupled with the city's programs, means that we're going to be building a range of affordable housing, affordable to the spectrum of San Franciscans. And nothing's going to be perfect. Someone's going to end up at 101% of the median income, and the market rate's going to be too expensive for them. It's impossible to deliver an affordable unit for each and every person, but Prop F is a good faith effort that real community folks worked to qualify for the ballot, now working to pass, which speaks to the needs as they exist in the Baby Hunters Point for affordable housing.
Unfortunately, venues like this are some of the few opportunities that Chris actually gets to speak about this. The other side blabs on and on and on across all your mailers, across all of your media outlets. But here's reality: you can build 50%. You know why? Because how would you like to make? What's the most expensive thing in San Francisco? It's the goddamn land. They're giving these sons of bitches the land.
For $1.
They're for one. Oh, pardon me. I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that much. But it's also it's a huge gentrification thing. They're also going to clear the Alice Griffin projects for that, and they're going to put housing for rich people up there. That's the way that it works. But for $1, you get all of this land, and I mean that's absolutely preposterous. I've watched all these land use battles for the last 10 years of planning and this and that. I watched this group of Chinese builders come up and they say, of course we can build at 50%. And they were buying the land. And this is 6-7 years ago. Give them the goddamn land. Why do we have to give them Lennar? The answer is because they're connected to Feinstein and Pelosi, two friends of yours, right?
I was just hanging out with them before coming over, right?
Where's the cowbell, guys?
Pardon me.
Where's the cowbell?
I got my bell rung again.
Well, I do
It happens every fucking
I
night.
do want to say something positive about Nancy Pelosi. One thing positive. The fucking post office. Wants to close down, Golden Gate over here at High Street.
Was that story true?
True, all fucking true.
Did you hear that, folks?
They wanted to close
They
it
were
down.
fucking around. There was a neighborhood group came down, including the supervisor and a police captain of the district came down there, and the post office people said, oh, by the way, do you know the words fuck you? Get the fuck out of here. We ain't gonna do nothing. And Daly storms out the fucking door, and suddenly the next day, Pelosi's office makes a call and says, I think you need a full-service post office down there. And the same people that said fuck you were saying, you know the words we love you? And so we're getting a full-service post office
True
now.
story. True story.
Exactly. This is in the last 2 weeks.
So I want to give Speaker Pelosi
Thank you, Nancy.
props on one
Thank you,
thing
Nancy.
tonight, and that's the post office and the Tenderloin. Thank you,
Nancy, do two other things for me. One,
I'm not sure she ever even knew about it, but her staff, Dan Burnell, whatever staff
believe me,
people think.
we need that full service post office here.
We need that president out of office.
Do two things for me, Nancy. Do two things. First one, tear holes.
Was she on here? She posted on here, Nancy?
Who never knows?
Oh my goodness.
She might be a guest.
Yeah, probably understand.
Sock puppet.
But listen. For
She's sock puppeting on H-Friend's webcast.
For the people, Nancy, and for the people that work there, tear holes in those goddamn walls and put windows. And then have the police district. I thought it was a lot of balls for Jimenez and the fucking police to come down and say, we want this thing to be open so we can see inside. What about the fucking police station? They built a goddamn new police station down there, and you can buy drugs all around it because they don't have any windows.
Well, what are we doing here?
Station here.
You can go right down.
I got a window. We take pictures of all the drug dealers out here, deal with them all the time. They do a little bit, but not shit, really. I mean, I jump on.
Can you get high on those photographs, though?
No, I smoke pot.
Okay.
I don't do any other drugs. I mean, I have an extensive drug history, which is we don't want to talk about.
Let's do it. Why not?
I just smoke pot. I smoke pot and
He's been given the 5-minute warning. Hey, we got 5 minutes. I want to talk about this.
No. We're going to talk as long as Chris Daly wants to talk. Chris Daly and Angela Alio have been my, and Arthur Brazzoni have been my all-stars on this night. And I want Chris to talk.
You got me up in the Arthur Brazzoni category now. Huh?
And Angela Alio. And you don't even have tits.
Marie Harris.
Marie's a dynamo. I want to talk about this right here, H.
Tibet.
I want to talk about Tibet.
Okay. In Paris,
I know.
in Paris, when the torch ran by City Hall, the mayor was out there. He had a huge banner out, "Free Tibet."
Yeah.
Why didn't we have that here in San Francisco?
Well, I'll tell you what. Clearly, the mayor of San Francisco thought he had an opportunity to score some friends in mainland China. And I think that it has to do with political money for a possible race for governor.
Anything to do with Richard Bloom?
Quite possibly has something
Who
to
is
do with
Richard Bloom? Tell the people who Richard Bloom is.
He would be married to someone important, perhaps.
Like Dianne Feinstein,
Like
the
Dianne
senator?
Feinstein. He also would have a little corporation.
Didn't Newsom fly one way on the China on their jet?
Yes, and he would also own a...
What was the word? That he was in the bathroom too long and she thought he was doing coke, so she made him fly back on another jet?
I don't know.
I heard that. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that.
I heard that.
I've heard a lot of cocaine
You don't want to talk.
stories
You don't want.
about Newsom, but I can't talk about
Don't
it.
say that, Chris. Last time you said you heard stories, you can't even give a rumor anymore. No. What do you think of the Reverend Falwell? I understand he's endorsed you.
Yeah. A lot of them.
Yeah.
Slow him down by coming out of left field.
Let me say this.
So what was it like growing up behind a filling station?
The Tibetan people, have just an incredible spirit, and I don't think it's just unique to the Tibetan people. I think
They're
that,
koala bears and they're easy to kill. That's why they're subjugated.
I think that a lot of people who face hardship, who have faced dislocation, and have struggled, and have shown resistance.
Sounds like black San Franciscans to
In the
me.
face of that, have the spirit. And I just was able to meet hundreds of Tibetans from here in San Francisco and around the Bay Area, and folks who came in from around the country to protest the torch. Their drive and optimism and human spirit really moved me, and I was happy to participate. Very happy to participate in the efforts to stop business as usual in San Francisco.
So you won't
wanted to roll out the red carpet.
So you won't be flying on Feinstein's jet to China for the next vacation?
I wasn't going to be flying on Feinstein's jet anyway, so it's all good. And let's just say this: they wanted to bring the Olympic torch, which I believe to be a torch of shame, and a torch that now represents human rights abuses. They wanted to bring it up San Francisco's promenade. They wanted to bring it up the Embarcadero. We were thousands strong out there. There was no way that they would bring that torch past us. and so they took that torch where that torch belonged, on a hidden route, in shame, hidden away from TV cameras, hidden away from people that came to see it, hidden away from protesters, and that was part of this London, Paris, San Francisco three-legged torch route that the world became conscious that the Olympics in China really represent China's human rights abuses. And if they want to become what it seems like they want to become, and that's a leader in the world, they need to clean up their human rights abuses, and they need to go into immediate discussions and negotiations with the Dalai Lama and Tibetan officials about sovereignty for the Tibetan people.
I'm going to disagree with you on one thing. It's not a torch of shame. They have attached shame to a torch that's so honorable. But what's happened is the most interesting thing about
they made the torch. I mean, the torch is different every Olympic.
Dictators.
They claim the flame never goes out, and they put the flame out in Paris like 7 times. You know, I mean, so, which one is it? The flame never goes out. Well, the Parisians put it out 7 times. You know.
Dude, pay attention to reality. How often does the torch go?
Where did it go? Oh, we've got backup flames. Okay.
How often does the torch burn? The answer is every 4 years. Dictators don't understand that they're so egotistical. They want that torch. They want the world opinion. And you know what happens? That torch topples regimes. It toppled the military regime in South Korea because it brought attention to them. It toppled the fucking a party in Mexico that had been in power for 100 fucking years. You did the best thing here in San Francisco, but other people are. When that torch comes here, dictatorships fall.
Well, the Free didn't topple in '68, but maybe in 90.
Well, it
2000 or whatever, you know, 30 years later. You know, look, the IOC, I think there are some folks in the International Olympic Committee that do believe that the Olympics could have transformed China like they did South Korea. They've miscalculated. China is much larger than the Olympics. You know, and so China is moving forward with their Olympic plans. They continue to violate people's human rights. Not that the United States of America does it, we do too.
They're on their way down with this.
But
they're on their way down. You know what? Who has more cell phones than anybody in the world? The Chinese. Did you know that? That's a statistic released this week. I talked to some Japanese serious media people a couple of years ago, and they said the Chinese government is going to fall because we're going to overcome all of their fucking attempts to block the internet, and we can do that, and they're going to go down. 1 million fucking people last week for the first time since 1950 for the first time there's access, or maybe it's 48, I don't know when the fuck it was. For the first time, the Chinese people are able to talk to the outside world without going through their government. This earthquake has made that happen, and that's because of technology, but that's just my opinion. Jump to the other propositions. Is there anything out there? A is obviously for the school tax. B, what do you think of B?
Well, I support B, but I want to talk about this. If you look in your mailbox and you've gotten a mailer,
B is changing the retirement benefits.
B, you're likely to see Sean Ellsberg featured in these mailers. Now, Sean Ellsberg is the author of Proposition B, and not that I'm going to say that the guy doesn't deserve to be featured on a piece of mail every now and again, but
you shouldn't get all the FaceTime.
But San Franciscans aren't waiting to see where Sean Ellsberg is before they cast a vote. So why is Sean Ellsberg on all of the Proposition mail featured so prominently? Well, apparently the answer to this question is Sean Ellsberg has raised half of the money for the Yes on B campaign from his downtown backers. And yet Lennar, who was willing to file an 80-page ethics complaint against me, saying that the Proposition
page for every dollar you raise.
Proposition F campaign should have been filed as a candidate control committee because Daly exerts undue influence on the Yes on F campaign. When I've raised maybe, and I'm sorry to my friends who are working in the Proposition F campaign that I haven't raised more because it hasn't been for a lack of effort, but I've raised maybe $3,000, $4,000 in total. For the Proposition F campaign. Ellsberg has raised tens of thousands of dollars, and his mug is featured on all of this Yes on B mail. You'd be hard-pressed to find my picture on anything having to do with Proposition F that's not put out by the Lennar Corporation.
Normally you're outspent 10, 20 to 1. This is 200 to 300 to 1. What do you think is going to happen on June 3rd?
Well, I mean, you know, what we know is what has been leaked out of the Lennar's camp. We know that a month ago that they ran a poll.
51.
Mark Solomon got the poll 58 to 31. That we were up 27 points. Obviously, they've been spending money at a very
That's because of your
clip.
negative fucking ads. That's why.
Well, the latest that I've heard on the rumor mill is that they've knocked their 58 down to 54. So they've shaved 4 points. They're going to need to shave another 4 points off, plus some by election day, because we know that a lot of votes are already in, several thousand votes, probably 10,000 votes already in at the Department of Elections. Half the votes in this election cycle, likely around half the votes, will come in early as vote by mail, the other half on election day. So they're going to have to get that 58 number and that 54 number down to about 48, 47 in order to defeat Proposition F. It's clear that they're willing to spend whatever it takes to do it. However, it's not as if we're sitting around resting on our laurels. We're out every day. And if you're home on the internet, and you got nothing to do this weekend, come on out tomorrow at the Power office, 32 7th Street, right across the street from H. Brown headquarters. I think it's 11 a.m. tomorrow, and then we're going to be out at Carnival on Sunday, 10 a.m., meeting at 23rd and Harrison to spread the word, yes, on F. Phone banks every night next week at Power, 5 to 9, 32 7th Street, and then big mobilizations next weekend before, the critical weekend before Election Day. We got window signs, we got literature, we got buttons, we got T-shirts. Get plugged in, yes, on F. We have spent this $10,000 very effectively, and hopefully it's enough to win.
And bottom line on that, guys, Prop G, which is pushed by Lennar and the mayor and his people, it actually means nothing. It requires Lennar to do nothing. They're promising you all kinds of stuff, but it actually promises to do nothing.
Yeah, I just addressed that.
Absolutely nothing. Prop F, on the other hand, guarantees, it doesn't guarantee, but it gives you the opportunity to keep some of our folks in town. But Prop G is not binding on anything. It is an option for Lennar so that they can sell their company to United Arab Emirates for billions of dollars because they lost 80% of their stock value last year. This is a last-ditch effort for them to grab an option worth billions of dollars. Billions. A billion is 1,000 million, folks. A billion is 1,000 million. So this is well worth Lennar's efforts to get this. The Prop G guarantees you nothing. They've made no promises, despite the fact that the labor movement went over to it. The leadership of the labor movement, not the rank and file. Rank and file, you're going to vote against these assholes, right? I mean, period. That's what's going to happen. But Prop G does nothing but guarantee that Lennar can sell their property to the United Arab Emirates at an inflated price. Prop F will guarantee you some affordable housing for people who only make 80 or 60 and a very, very slim few who make $30,000 a year. It's a good measure. Keep talking, Chris Daly. I'm H. Brown. This is H. Brown Hour. We're in downtown San Francisco. People break me all the time and say, "Tell us where the fuck you're from," because they don't do it.
Where am I from originally?
No, he's from. He's a supervisor in downtown. They want to know where the show's coming from. A lot of people like. Sometimes we get 3,000-4,000 fucking views a day, and nobody knows where we're from. But we always ask our guests to move
They just
the audience
happen
on.
on the H. Brown live webcast, and they're going to watch it.
It's an
He's
experiment.
Brown got
It's an
3,000
experiment.
members.
This is a platform that Mark, what's his name?
Is this like a clinical trial where
Yeah,
the
it is.
patient dies, like in Grey's
No.
Anatomy?
This is like they're trying out. Dude, this is
Do I
live.
get to walk out of here tonight?
This is live television. But before you were born, when I was a little kid, everything was like this. It was live, only it cost them millions of dollars to do it. When they park a truck across the street from City Hall, we moved this thing this week and we practiced. There's a little card that you get from Verizon for $60 a month. Anywhere you can use your cell phone, we can do a remote fucking broadcast.
Well, you can just plug it in my cell phone and just plug it in the computer. You don't need the card.
Well, no. You need the card. You need the card. You need the card.
Or you need a BlackBerry 80 something.
Well, we're running it. We're gonna have an entire network on by next week. We've already got, it's the Bulldog network.
How do we fund community? That seems like a planet question. Who's that?
Federal Community, that's Mark Solomon.
Communal interest. There's legislation, Mark Solomon, been working with Ezra Mercy, who's big-time developer who wants to turn do-gooder on a piece of legislation would allow developers to pay in lieu fees.
Define what you're saying for people that don't know what you're talking about. Mark Solomon is a strategy wonk who advises all members of the left. And there's something that you're...
Mark Solomon, Mark Solomon is an idea guy in our
and his question is?
He's also a computer guru. His question is about funding land trusts. Land trust is basically where you make housing more affordable by holding the land in common trust as opposed to private ownership. And then in terms of the improvements, the buildings on the land, there can be many different types.
Where would the city get buildings to do this kind of thing?
Well, the city, deals in large sums of money because...
Does the city own any buildings that they could devote to a land trust?
The city does own many buildings, as most local governments are big property owners within their jurisdiction. But in this case, our plan is to take these affordable housing in lieu fees, to put them into a kitty, and then to go out, especially given the fact that the real estate market is a little bit down right now, to go out and purchase housing so that we can take it out of the private market, to convert it to community-based land trust, and to make sure that the housing is affordable in perpetuity. You increase the rents or the payments on the housing based on inflation, but you basically take the housing out of the market, which obviously is incredibly erratic and can displace families and communities wholesale.
Credit
Would that work in Bayview?